So let's take a look at another data type in the Ruby language. We're going to look at Booleans. So there are two basic Boolean values in the Ruby language. There's true and there's false. So these are special keywords in Ruby, and you can have statements in the language evaluate to either be true or false. So let's take a look at this. We can use, when we're doing Boolean testing, we can basically test the relationship between two objects and see if the relationship evaluates to be true or false. So for example, let's output this in the console. We can check to see if 1 is equal to 1. In this case, we know that the number 1 is equal to itself. So this will evaluate to true, and this is what we call a comparison operator. So statements with comparison operators always evaluate to either be true or false. So for example, if we run that code, we'll see that Ruby spits back out that it's true. And so this will be helpful down the line when we're working with if-else statements, and we can see, okay, if something is true, we execute some code. Otherwise, we'll do something else. So now if I were to do 2 is equal to 1, we know that that's not actually true. So we'll get false back from Ruby. So that's going to be helpful down the line, and we'll see this, we'll understand it better when we have it in context. But just to be aware of what these operators look like, let's take a look at a few more. So there's the not equals, and this is going to say, okay, is the thing on the left not equal to the thing on the right? And in this case, that's true. 2 is not equal to 1, so we'll get the response true back. But however, if we were to put a 2 there, that's a false statement. 2 is equal to itself, so we'll get false back. So now there's also greater than or equal to, and we know that 2 is greater than or equal to itself. And then there's less than or equal to. We could do something like this, and that would be false. So those are comparison operators, and we'll see them quite a bit down the line, but let's take a look at the logical operators as well. So logical operators are used to compare two Boolean values. So we could do something like this. We could have two Booleans assigned to variables like this, and we can say, okay, Boolean 1 and Boolean 2. So this is called a logical operator right here. And so what will happen when you're using logical operators is we evaluate these statements, and again, we'll get either true or false back. And the way the and operator works is it's asking, are both of these values true? As long as both of them are true, then Ruby will give you back a true Boolean. However, if one of them is false, and it could be the one on the left or the one on the right, even though the other is true, we're going to get back false. So let's check this out. And there you go. We're going to get back false because we assigned Boolean 2 to be the false Boolean. So now if I were to say Boolean 1 and Boolean 1, both of these are true, and therefore this entire statement now will evaluate to true. So there we go. There's also the OR operator when we're talking about logical operators. And so this will check to see in this statement, are either one of these true? It could be the one on the left or the one on the right. And if either one is true, we're going to always give you back true. So even if I made this one false here, we'll see that it executes as true. Now if we made both of these false, it's not going to work. We're going to get false back. And there you go. And then finally, just one more of these logical operators. We can do something like this. So whenever you put an exclamation point in front of some sort of a value, you'll see that it'll evaluate to either be true or false. So this is saying this is not what this is. So since this Boolean 1 is true, we're saying, let's see what happens when we say not true, and we'll get false back. Right? Now if we say Boolean 2 and we're saying this is not false. So remember, exclamation point is like saying it's not whatever we put next to it. So this is not false, then we should get back the opposite, true. So I know that can be a little bit tricky to kind of comprehend when you're looking at it with such primitive values, but it's going to make more sense down the line. For example, we might be building an application and we have to check, has this user been logged in? That's where a Boolean would come into place, right? So if the user signed into the form and logged into our application, we can check and see if that's true or false. And then based on whether they're logged in, we can show them one page versus another page. So that's just kind of a basic example of using Booleans.